Assalamu alaikum everyone. I hope you guys are doing well. This is me, Abu Bakr Dilaver. I welcome you all on our latest podcast, which is Founders Kahani. In this podcast, we always bring amazing founders from across the globe so you guys can learn anything and invest on your entrepreneurial journey and start something innovative that will benefit the Pakistan and also the world as well. So today we have a very special guest. Please welcome all the way from Germany, Ahmed Bayram. He is the regional manager at Techstars and he is a VC. So how are you, Ahmed?
Hello, salam alaikum. I'm very happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me, and very excited to be able to speak to the community of Pakistan and the founders there, and explore more about how we can support and help in Techstars.
Yeah, that's really nice. If you want to define who is Ahmed, can you define it?
Yeah, it's not an easy question as a start. Yeah, absolutely. I'm an entrepreneur myself. I started my business early on when I was like 17 years old. We tried to do a customized gift in Syria and Damascus, where I'm from. Sadly, later the business faced many challenges because of the war in the country. Later, I moved to start many other businesses as co-founder, traveling also to the US before joining Techstars. Currently, I'm the regional manager for EMEA region for Techstars. Been working there for the past 9 years as of this month, supporting the community leaders all across the region, making sure you have all the tools and resources you need to empower your local ecosystem. So I'm not like far away onto the challenges that people are facing when they're starting their business, especially in developing ecosystem like Pakistan. I've been into many other countries close by, nearby with the same condition. I've been seeing amazing entrepreneurs all across. So I'm excited to talk more about that in our conversation. But yeah, about me, I'm an entrepreneur myself. I'm an author. I'd like to explore more about entrepreneurship in a difficult places. So I publish entrepreneurship in conflicts to reflect on the entrepreneurs who are trying to start businesses in conflict zone, post-conflict zone, fragile states, entrepreneurship exile, focus on refugees community and how they try to empower and start business. And Pakistan is one of the major country hosting refugees in the world. So my experience also focus on that in addition to impact on entrepreneurship.
Oh, that's really nice. By the way, I'm a little surprised when you said that you have a 9-year experience in textile, but you look very young. You look like a 20-year-old guy.
Thank you. I look young. I'm not young. Yeah, I joined Textiles back in the time in 2015 as a contractor. Later on, regional manager for MENA, and then expanding to Europe, doing now even more support on the partnership side. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So if you talk about Techstars, so what benefits that Techstars will give to startups, especially the startups from the developing countries?
Yeah. Well, first for people who's new listening to us and they don't know Techstars, we are worldwide networks. We try to help entrepreneurs succeed from inspiration from very early stage to IPO. Currently, Techstars also considered #1 early stage investors in the world. We invest in about 600 to 800 startup per year. It's a massive number that we try to support entrepreneurs all across the world. Through our programs. So first, a pre-accelerator program, most famously the Startup Weekend, and we've been having a lot of the Startup Weekend events taking place in Afghanistan. As of today, we reached like many more than 7,000 Startup Weekend event around the world. In more than would say 1,900 cities. So it's very much global movement. This event that took place, and the Startup Weekend, who also doesn't know, it's a 54 hours event. People come with just an idea and try to find co-founders. They try to validate their idea. So they live the life of creating businesses and creating startup for 54 hours event. Many people who participated later ended up raising a lot of money, more than $1 billion of total fund that have been gathering from the Startup Weekend. We also have a little bit advanced program called Founder Catalyst. It's 5 weeks of master classes, training, mentorship coming to support the early stage founders. We also have an accelerator program, our flagship program. It's a worldwide recognized accelerator programs. When founders come for 3 months, they received an investment in return of equity, and we try to help them, to support them to scale and work. We supported more than 3,500 startup and around the world to help them, to support them. But yeah, my focus is the startup weekend, so we can talk more about the startup weekend, the importance of this program for developed communities as well.
Oh, that's really nice. By the way, I also started my entrepreneurial journey in my high school from Google Startup Weekend.
Oh, awesome. Very
Yeah,
happy.
and now I'm arranging Google Startup Weekend here in my city so I can give back to community.
Sure, that's the spirit of entrepreneurship. This is what we believe in, and this is part of our value, like to give first to the community, to help the stuff that you learn, to share it all around you. Yeah.
Okay, so as you said that you are a EMEA regional manager of Techstars, that you are covering Europe, Middle East, and Africa. So in those regions, what specific things about entrepreneurship and startups you noticed, and what are the difference between the startups in the European side or in the developing countries side?
Yeah, that's a very good question as well. Because a lot of time when entrepreneurs start in a difficult ecosystem or like developing ecosystem, we tend to feel that we have the most maximum challenges that we're facing. And if you're starting in the Silicon Valley or you're starting in Germany, or London, you are easier for you to start a business. Something that's different is there's a lot of similarity. I wanted to say before we go into the differences, there's a lot of similarity between entrepreneurs. All of people, they are looking to solve problems they are facing in their life, which is very much amazing things for them to have. They have the perseverance. If they fail, they continue back in, they try to fail forward, continue to support and be able to help. Great founders, they have also great leadership, they are connectors, they use their tools and everything they have to connect people together, to bring the most talent to work in their team, to bring the most resources, money or investment for them to come and help and support. Every ecosystem has a different challenges. Nonetheless, there's challenges in Pakistan that people don't face in Berlin, and there is challenges in Berlin that people don't face in Pakistan, where competition is very high and is very strong. One of the advantages that I see also in developing ecosystem usually is because a fresh market. There is a lot of enthusiasm to help the startups and support the startups and be able to push. So because they're starting early in the market, there's not much of competition. They can easy for them to go and scale if they be able to build a good infrastructure and big support, where in other places there is more competition that's there. We all know about like Kareem and how they expanded and starting from in the Middle East and then expanded back to Pakistan, where the founder is also his Pakistani founder, co-founder, being able to go and dominate the market very early on before the big players come in to the market. So there is also like this kind of advantages for the entrepreneurs. Another things I notice in developing countries, a lot of people try to work on the challenges they are really facing in their life. So they want to see the change they wanted to see in their country by actually doing it. So you have people more focusing on education program, more focusing on e-commerce, more focusing on solving real issues that face in their community, environmental challenges, and what's there for them, and to put all of this together into a innovative ideas and try to offer this solution for people. So that's amazing spirit for entrepreneurs to be part of the society, to be part of the community and try to solve its own problem, as we feel more responsible in developing countries to solve our own problems than actually wait for government side or other agency to solve those problems for us.
Oh, that's really nice. That's very well you said, because the hunger creates the opportunity. Basically, people who are facing something, they have the eager to do it. There will be a do and die situation for them if you are in the problem. Okay, so in our high schools or in our schools, we read a phrase that because of the internet, world is becoming a global village. So in these years, I'm really noticing that the world has really become a global village. It has become very small. There are no gaps in the communication. There are no gaps in the information. Something happened in America, and at the very next moment you will know about it. Even in Pakistan or even in Antarctica, you will know about it. So if this type of era where things are very much changing, evolving, how do you see how entrepreneurship is important, how the change making is important?
Yeah, absolutely. Like there's a lot of changes, especially after COVID, when a lot of people start to come online and open up a lot of opportunities for founders. We start to hear about local VCs who now start to expand, increase their hands to reach more entrepreneurs in different regions. We start to hear about startups that are working remotely and that's helping them hire more. Tech people who's living far away in Asia and some other places, and they are located in Europe or located in the US or whatever it is. So that's expanded the resources, that expanded the knowledge and the opportunity for every startups. It doesn't matter now where you are based. It doesn't matter now where are you located. As much as you have internet, stable internet, good electricity, you can start locally and then expand directly to the global. So you can right away start your own shipping your own product to the global market and services and start working on. This has also brought some challenges in terms of competition. There's a lot of other competitions happening, but it's also there. There's also a lot of knowledge that have been distributed around entrepreneurship through the access of internet, AI. So a lot of people now, I don't have to have, for example, a programmers to be able to have a functional website. I can use no coding tools. I don't have a designer to be able just to design my prototype. I can use an AI design. This is very much massive in terms of, and same for the IT people whose IT, they don't have a business, they don't have to write a business plan. Probably ChatGPT can write a business plan for them and figure out a way of selling. So that helps a lot of people to become, it's easier now to become an entrepreneur. I think this is the best time also to become an entrepreneur. You have access to global market, you have access to global knowledge, you have access to also global investors. In Techstars, we did this before, but we do it more online accelerator programs that people also can participate in. We get more resources and tools in there. And the startup weekend, we also launched the online startup weekend version. So you can be able to participate and work with the co-founders that based on the other side of the world, and you work together to establish a startup.
That's really nice. Oh, as a regional manager of Techstars, what do you think? What steps should be taken by Techstars or by the incubation centers all across the world to nurture this ecosystem?
Yeah, for us, I think the first steps, it's different from ecosystem to the ecosystem, but through us, the startup weekend is actually the first step. What we see in the startup weekend is not just it's not just an event. It's not a hackathon. Where hackathon, a lot of IT people, they come together to hack an idea and build a prototype. This is not the idea of the startup weekend. Startup weekend is more diverse in terms of you have a business people, you have a design, you have experts as well, and you have the IT. All of those coming together to start a functional business. So you have the prototype that need to focus on, you have the business plan and figure out how you can make money, you have the design function, and you have the presentation. All of this is there. Another thing that's important for every founder is to find a co-founders. It's still surprised me till now. There's very limited places for people to find a co-founders. Usually if you go to a workshop, you just sit next to the people, you don't work together. So how can I know you are a good founders for me and we are completing each other's skills? And also on the networking event, we don't code together. I don't see you code. I don't see you work. We just talk and randomly speak. And the startup weekend, this could change because we're gonna sit together for 54 hours event during the weekend, coding together, brainstorming together, going customer validation together, validate our ideas, make sure that we have a great idea that fits the community. We get feedback from mentors, we get feedback from judges, all of that in one place. And for me, that's one of the magic things for the startup weekend. That's why we reached 7,000 startup weekend event around the world, because the program works and solve big problem for entrepreneurs. So I think this is one of the main steps, inspire entrepreneur and help them with the knowledge they needed to build their own businesses, or put them in the right path toward that.
So, as a VC and as a manager of an incubation center, how you see that how important it is to cultivate this ecosystem on regular basis?
Can you explain more, if I'm
Like
asking?
I was saying that in the last year, in the last couple of years, over in overall world, even in Pakistan, a lot of people talked about entrepreneurship. A lot of students started their startups. A lot of people are doing amazing things in the entrepreneurship world to encourage the young generations to innovate something. So, how do you see that? Are we doing enough for this ecosystem, or how important it is for us to increase this effort in the startup ecosystem?
Yeah. Well, it's hard for me to see like what's actually happening now in the country, in the Pakistan, where I'm based in Berlin. Hopefully one time I'll visit and spend more time and learn more from you. But I'll give a trick for you and people who are listening to us. In Texas, we believe startup ecosystem is based on 5 important elements. First is the talent. So you need to see, do we have people with the right talents to become an entrepreneurs? Do they have the right knowledge? Do they have the right experience? Are we universities educating high IT people who's focusing in AI, for example? What is required for talent? Second, so let me go through the 5 and then we go unpack each one of them. So you have talent, you have a capital density, and then you have culture, you have capital, and you have environmental regulations. So talent is very like, as we explained, the knowledge, the resources. Is it easy for me as a startup that based in Pakistan to be able to hire people outside? Can I bring them in? Is it easy like to bring them in and get more, let's say, working visa for them? How much is it diverse, the ecosystem as well inside? Density is how much is connected this ecosystem. You cannot work in building startup ecosystem that's very based on silos. So I have my own community, it's closed, nobody can enter, and there's another community is happening. Ecosystem is more connected. It's connected starting from incubator centers, accelerator programs, the angel investors, the universities, the government, the mentors, the business side, the lawyers, the supporters who support like establishing businesses and all of that. All of this should be connected. There is a place in my ecosystem where it's easy to connect and manage all of this. This helps a lot innovate, because one person cannot establish a amazing business. You need, it's a collection of support. So how much you can bring that culture, how much is known as a culture of entrepreneurship? You mentioned yourself, there's an increase in that, but the increase in entrepreneurship is not like everybody want to become a billionaire. The entrepreneurship is also about giving first, as we talked earlier in the conversation. You give back to your community. I don't want to have one person who's now, I don't know, the next Elon Musk of Pakistan, and he has a lot of resources, and she has a lot of resources and knowledge, but doesn't share it with everybody else. How we can pass this knowledge? What about the culture of failures? Entrepreneurship is about training and failing, and there is no wrong with this. We understand in our culture, in the MENA region, and also probably also in Pakistan, there is a lot of afraid of failing. failing is could be a shame on me. So that we see a lot of entrepreneurs hesitance, well, a lot of entrepreneurs working on idea for a very long time, just because they are afraid to say, okay, it's failed, I want to start over again. So that's another thing. There's also another problems. Second, when we move to the capital, how easy is to raise fund as a seed stage, as an early stage, from angel investors. There's a capital, easy of moving money. There's an exits that happened before in the country. What is it? And the environmental regulations, that how easy is to do business, is the government support starting the startup and doing business. So what I would suggest, and is that like this is the trick, that I look into those five and see what's the strongest things in Pakistan ecosystem today. Of those two, you probably say talent and culture. And what's the weakest things? Maybe you would say the capital and the density. And then we need to focus on those. So let's focus more in density. Let's invite entrepreneurs to come together. Culture, let's create a role model in the ecosystem. Let's invite those people to talk about failures more than talking about their successes, because we need to build a culture. And you try with that to enhance the ecosystem in your own country or in your own city. It's fine to have different ecosystem competing. And we see this in the big cities, in the big countries a lot. There's always like 2 or 3 ecosystem in the same country competing. That's very good. It's fine. No harm with that, as much as they also collaborate together.
Yeah, that's very well. You said, you explained very well. As in our previous conversation, we talked about the startups creating the social impact. That in conventional businesses, people usually thought about the profit, but in startups or in entrepreneurs, people think about the social impact first and then the profit. So, can you share some amazing stories from Techstars who did create a huge social impact?
Yeah, absolutely. And this is linked to the what we discussed before, like mostly in developing countries, you see individuals who want to be part of the solution, who believe in their country, who believe in their people, and they want to be a solution. They don't wait for someone else to solve those problems. They're not going to wait for governments that takes a lot of time with a lot of bureaucracy and a lot of problems there to solve this problem for them. So they step up to solve many of those problems. And you see a lot of businesses focus on education and focusing on environmental problems, especially now with recent flood that happened in Pakistan and the global warming and what's happening. So there's a lot of focus that we see people actually trying to step up to solve those problems. And this is just a comment. One things that I always notice when we go to startup weekend event, a lot of people in developing countries, they pitching ideas that related to the community problems. They're not doing, oh, I just want to do gaming. I want to do a dating app, or I want to do, no, they want to focus on the real problems. There's a problems that happen with my community that I want to do, I want to support, I want to focus on, in a comparison to the other people who might believe like in the advanced countries, because it's a, maybe there's a lot of agencies can do this kind of job. I don't have like a examples just in my brain, but there's many other examples around the world for people who building education platform, who's building a support programs, who's building many of them. And regarding to where you are, you can definitely participate. One of the Pakistani company, I think they're based in Karachi, they are a social champ. They are next generation simple social media management tool. They are based in Pakistan, and they participated in the start. They participated, sorry, in Toronto program, in our accelerator program. And there's others, couple of also example of local startups that focus on fashion solution. I think it's what Swash Kick. Also, they participated in our Techstars accelerator program. So there's many of like local startups who started in Pakistan. They established their company in Pakistan, and then later been able to expand globally and participate in a global accelerator programs. And there's more and more, I'm sure of that. Those what I know from Techstars side. Probably there's more startups that raise money from YC or 500 or other VCs. I'm also aware of many Pakistani company who are expanding to the Gulf region. They go to Dubai, they go to Saudi Arabia, and they open their businesses and work there, which is amazing. That the impact and the social impact is not just in my village or my city. It's also like people thinking globally, how can I solve those problems?
Yeah, that's very well said. You explained very well, mashallah, and you told us like very amazing and inspiring stories. So let's take some questions now from our audience. There are some audience on the FM who texted us and asked you a few questions, and there are some people in the meeting who also wants to ask questions. Let's take the people from the meeting first. So if anyone wants to ask question from Ahmed Bayram, he can unmute himself.
Yeah, I would like to ask a couple of questions. So first of all, thank you, Ahmed Bayram, for your precious time and sharing values. So yeah, my question is about the from couple of years we heard about a word recession-proof your startup. What actually this term is and how why every startup and company is very stressing on this word to like recession-proof their startup.
I'm gonna ask for more like details. Is that possible?
Yeah. So basically, I was figuring out this word. So it's about like in a hard times when the
Yeah.
inflation and recession terms are very aggressive, and you need to like to make sure your operational things for your startup scalability. So in this term, I want to figure out it from you.
Yeah, sure. It's definitely like also a global problem. It's not just me. So that's the first things of changing mentality. A lot of founders thinks, oh, this is only me. This is happening to me. This is globally. This is happening in every startup, no matter what they are. If they are in Beijing, they are in London, they are in Silicon Valley, they all face this problem. Second, this is not something new. Economy went into many cycles like inflation, recessions, many time, different time. So it's not problem at all to see like to see this happening. What is important for the startup at this point and economic changes, whether then we're going in recessions, whether they're going in inflation, what is it? And just make sure you know your financials very well. You pivot your financials. I redo my financial plan to better understand. Try to expand my runway as much as I can, which is the money that you have to spend every month. So I try to increase that for 6 months. I cut some costs if I don't have like enough runway on unnecessarily stuff. And every companies they know what's the unnecessary stuff for them. This could be, I don't know. Now employees will hate me, like maybe a game station in the company that you might like change the plan of expanding it for now or reduce your sales, try to be more organic, sorry, reduce your marketing ads and try to be more organic, be more like creative about the way that you market rather than spending a lot of money in US dollars. There's a lot of tricks that you can do in terms of to overcome this, but like should come from confidence in the startups that I understand my business, I understand the market, I have this 6 month period and I can go and do it. Definitely raising fund become harder and harder during those economic circle, or it's become more expensive. So maybe I try to increase my sales, increase my revenue, try to figure out different ways of raising my fund. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. You just nicely sum it up. So the very last question just comes into my mind as you shared, like in Techstar, networking meetups and some kind of sessions and activities. We met different peoples. Like we can figure out that we can work together as a co-founder. So on a general term, when we are going to start a business, going to start a startup, what are the like the crucial traits and the factors we need to keep in mind to choose a co-founder for our startup?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's also a good question to finalize, and we summarize what we already been saying. The crucial things is first, you have the same, like you complete each other's skills. Like hire someone or become a co-founder with someone who's complete your own skills, who has your weaknesses. You have a weakness in coding, or you have a weakness in building business plan or writing documents or leading team, and this person can help with those stuff. And in the other side, you have the other things. You are better in sales, you're better in communication, you're better in marketing. So find someone who complete your skills, find someone who you would like to work with. I know this sounds basic, but it's very much important. It's as much as important as finding a partner. It's also important to finding a co-founder, because you kind of end up spending at least 10 hours a day together. So at least someone you enjoy spending time with, you're having fun together. That's something is very much important to figure out. There's harmony, dynamic ability to work, someone you feel free to talk to about all the challenges, about any problems, and someone pretty much available to work on the business. Sadly, sometimes we see people, oh, I want a co-founder with this person who's could be very busy, but because he has high social status, I think it's good. No, I need someone who can actually put the work on. I need someone, if they are wrong, I say you are wrong. So building this trust, building this relationship, those what I would look for in a co-founder. And you will know your co-founder when you see it, I'm sure.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. So thanks for your sharing. Yeah.
Thanks, you.
Yeah. Okay. So there are some questions on the FM. There is a girl, Amna. She said, if you have a startup idea, but you didn't do anything, what's first step should she do?
Yeah, I would say go to Startup Weekend, but like, yeah, I know I'm not like marketing that, but it's a free event, so you can like, or it's a very cheap ticket event, sorry. So you can definitely go and do your idea. What I would first do if I have an idea, like solution, I need to validate this idea. Usually it's come from a problem, and as we said, every problem could be solved differently. So it's very much important to know if this works, if this solution works. Talk to your customers, talk with your co-founders to validate your ideas, make sure that they're. Second, build your MVP. What I like more than MVP, it's minimum valuable product. Just people who doesn't know, it's just like smaller version of the product that you can have online. So let's say you want to do a Kareem. The MVP for Kareem could be a WhatsApp application. When someone needs a driver, he sends us on WhatsApp his location, and then we go there and pick the person up. It doesn't require a lot of time for me to set my MVP. What's more important than MVP is a minimum sellable product, something that actually bring money. Our people are willing to pay money for these solutions. If they are, that's a good indicator of validation, I'll say. Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, I agree with your Startup Weekend's suggestion. She should join Techstars Startup Weekend Faisalabad in September. By the way, next question is from Ahmed Noor. He said that is it really necessary for startups to join business incubation centers?
No, it's not necessarily important. So usually incubators is different than accelerators. So incubators, they give you the office, they give you the space, they give you the knowledge. They do invest in you. Accelerator do investment, but they share the network, they share resources. If you have the network, you have the skills that you need, you have all of that. You don't necessarily have to go to an incubators or to accelerator programs to establish your business. It's could be a good help. It's just a support edition. It's not necessarily for everybody.
Okay. Well, this is the last question. This person asked, when do you know that you are ready for raising an investment?
Yeah, this questions can go a lot in terms of how can I know if I'm investable readiness. First, when I have a validation in the market. I have a proof that my business is working. So again, we said maybe in the first months I have 3 customers, but then later it's growing every month. So every month there is an increase. I'm getting a lot of great feedback. I'm ready to expand my product. It could be good indicators to go to an early stage seed fund round, could be, or angel investment round, just because I have the proof, I have the validation that my solution work and my solution is acceptable from the people. Not necessarily a product market fit, because this is could happens very at later stage, but I have some evidence or indicators that this solution that I think works is actually work.
Oh, that's really nice. I think you summed it up very well. You answered all the questions very well. Now we have come to the end of our podcast. I literally have a lot of questions till now, but we have short time, and it's really nice meeting with you and see you and knowing your kahani. Knowing, by the way, kahani means story in Urdu, so
Uh-huh.
that's why we named Founders Kahani. That's the story of different founders. And your
Oh,
Kahani is really amazing. And it inspired me a lot because I just graduated from university and I'm working on my startup and this podcast. But I'm really like inspired by your journey, and I got a lot of answers of my of my craziness, of my things that I'm confused about. I got a lot of answers. On the last, any advice you want to give to Pakistani startups?
Just go for it. There's no harm of failing. If it didn't work, it didn't work. Starting a business now is easier than before. So take this opportunity. I also wanted to thank you, Abu Bakr, for giving me a time to share my kahani to the startup community in Pakistan. It's very pleasure talking to everybody. I really enjoyed this conversation. And Adha Mubarak for everybody.
Thank you so much.
All of it.
Khair Mubarak, same to you. Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much, guys, for listening to us. Stay, let's see us next week. हमारे पास कौन सी नई कहानी आती है, कौन से नए फाउंडर्स आते हैं. Thank you so much for listening to us और हमें बर्दाश्त करने का बड़ा शुक्रिया. मिलते हैं अगले हफ्ते. अल्लाह हाफिज. Oh, thank you so much, Ahmed.
Bye
It
bye.
was really great. Bye.